have a handful of questions, so if this is a time thing, I'd like to get paused if possible, while they're answered. Going to the slides, and showing the Google map, how many of those residents were the ones that were under yellow block? How many parcels were yellow block?
I didn't have them out.
I don't have anything beyond it. 96 is the additional, but
Uh,
it's,
96 are the possible additional units under the plan if everybody took advantage of it and every vacant parcel decided to participate in the program.
So you're saying we have 96 vacant parcels?
No, I'm saying there are single-family homes that are outlined in the yellow, and there's the ones that are outlined in the blue, which are vacant land.
Okay, so my question is, the areas that are not blocked out in the yellow, what do they represent?
I believe existing two-family homes.
So, or three, so you'd be turning the entire area into a 2 or 3 family area?
Well, three families are totally non-conforming with our code. To the extent they exist, we permit them to exist until the structure is no longer there. However, we will permit the construction of, two-family homes, not three-family.
Okay, I actually, I like the old 2000 year 2000 modification to zoning where, living in the middle of town, we used to have all these houses, there was one families on 6500, knocked down into 2 families, and then it became a developer's dream. They were developing everywhere, and I'd love to see this turn into something that's not becoming a developer's dream, it becomes a residence dream to homeownership, similar to what President Bendo brought up. And if possible, you could bring that up where it'll be open, these 56 parcels are available to residents who are going to be either owner occupying 1 or 2 of the parcels within it. So they can be the low income or they can open it up. The other part, and they rent out well, not the lower income, but the affordable income one. That way it doesn't get taken over by developers because they're going to jump on this.
Everybody is eligible for this program, and we're hoping that the affordability component is going to keep folks in the neighborhood.
What I'm recommending is that you make it eligible to people. So if a person who happens to be a developer wants to develop a parcel, they can do that individually and don't open it to developers. Make this special overlay for people. So they can live here and not make money off the deal, or developer can make money. They can afford home ownership and have a nice place to stay. So I'm making a recommendation for that. Also, how many of those areas in that zone right now are already affordable housing that are being rented out?
I believe on Pine Street to the north, Pine Street is rent-controlled housing, that entire block. I'm not sure how many others are subject to various forms of federal assistance.
Well, I would also make the recommendation while you're doing a review of this, look at all these yellow parcels and see how many of them are already affordable housing. Because you may be helping or you may be making an hindrance without doing that type of diligence. Another recommendation is if this is a good plan, right, if this makes sense, I believe in more of an inclusive Long Beach as a whole. I understand what Park has its beautiful character of its own, but if it's something good, bring it to the entire community. Bring it to the middle of town, the east end of town, because there's a ton of empty lots in the west end. There's a ton of people in the west end who are struggling that may want 2-family house, or they may not want 2-family homes. And there's people who already live in North Park who may be struggling, who don't want 2-family homes next to them. So making Park, just to single this area out, I understand why you may want to do it, but I'm concerned that developers may take advantage of it. And in part, if it's a good idea, do it as more of a global event.
So I actually happen to agree with you, Mr. Pinto. I think it is a good thing overall, but I think this would be a great opportunity for kind of a pilot program that if this works well in one neighborhood, perhaps we should consider applying it to other neighborhoods.
Okay, that's another concern. And one more comment with this. It's only 56 parcels. I think a good step, instead of running before we start walking on this whole thing, is offer a fast pass for zoning for residents who live in the area who want to try to take that step into home ownership, or non-developers taking that step into home ownership. Let's do it with a fast pass to zoning. I'll wrap up in a second, but in theory, you don't have to change the whole thing. You don't have to change the character of the community. Keep a smaller step and move forward. And I just have one question on the sequel, which I wanted to get to. One question. Last question. Everything here is a negative, negative, negative. But I'm just looking at page, this is my last question. It was, how it has a negative impact on all services, whether it's school, police, fire. How would be turning all these residences from one family to two have a zero impact on school, fire, police, et cetera?
It's not that it has a zero impact, I think that it's not likely to have a significant impact. It doesn't say that it has a zero impact.
It says none.
It says it's not likely to have a significant impact. That's, Carrie, if you want to take that away, that's the standard of review.
That's correct. The threshold is related to the significance of the impact, not that there is none. But again, as we described, it's looking at, one, this area in general, which is a mix of already single-family and two-family homes. The additional units that could be anticipated, which we do not expect to happen all at one time. It would be as people decide to opt in. And looking at the city as a whole, how does 96 maximum units relate to the overall population and the services that are provided citywide? So our conclusion, based on those various factors, were that this does not raise to a level of adverse significance.
Thank you, anything else, Connor?
Celeste, we now find out if we get one grace period meeting or anything else that's right. Easy job.
Roy Lester, Long Beach. I think, initially it says that this is the intention of the proposal is to permit and encourage redevelopment of vacant and or deteriorated residential properties within the North Park neighborhood. How much vacant and deteriorated properties are there, number-wise?
Well, the vacant properties are highlighted in blue in the slideshow. I'm going to mark it out right now.
And how many deteriorated?
That's, it's hard to say what's deteriorated or not.
And you guys have a zombie home policy here, you should know that.
Well, zombie home is different from deteriorated.
Well, wouldn't you, when you look at zombie homes, wouldn't you notice the deteriorated?
Zombie homes aren't necessarily deteriorated. Zombie homes are homes that are in foreclosure, where the bank doesn't own the
No,
property.
I know what a zombie home is, so you don't know how many deteriorated homes there are here.
Well, how would you say what home is deteriorated, what home is not deteriorated?
That's the
Subjective
intention
qualification.
here. This is the intention. Redevelopment of vacant and or deteriorated residential properties, and I'm sure, you know, if this is being proposed, there's a reason for it. All right, never mind, you don't know, that's the answer. Okay, so I have to agree with Sam. What I see this happening is the developers coming in. First of all, it will increase the value of the properties, no question about it, because now developers can come in and put two family in here. Now, John, what you suggested, what they're doing in Auburn, is absolutely the right way to do it. When you have a resident, and then the resident can come in, and, you know, maybe the city could help with financing for residents, and then you make it into a two-family, and that helps the residents stay here. But this is not what's going to happen here. What's going to happen here, the developers are going to come in, they're going to see an opportunity, and like Jackie says, Long Beach is gonna be for sale. This isn't, you know, this isn't about keeping the people who own the houses here. This is about making some people rich. And you already have the capital gain advantage here. You know, there's an additional incentive for the developers to come in. And let me tell you, my occupation is a bankruptcy attorney. And I see so many people who are tenants, and I try to help them out. And there's nothing more pathetic than seeing somebody who has lived in a house for years and years, and whether it's affordable or not, and they get sick or something happens, and the next thing they know, they're getting kicked out. And that's exactly what happens when developers come in. They don't care if you get sick. They don't care what the problem is. You fall behind in your rent. This isn't your neighbor. This is some developer from out of town who looked at an opportunity, who saw an opportunity here and said, great, Long Beach is a good place. Now, if I can get, and you saw the numbers, $2,000 on the affordable one, for, let's say, three bedroom. And then on the non-affordable one, $4,000, $6,000 on a house that might have cost them about $400,000 to put up. That's damn good money.
Can you wrap up, please?
I'm ready.
Good evening, Dennis Kelly, 435 West Fulton Street, Long Beach, New York. Congratulations to the new members. I actually wrote out what I was going to say because I don't know if I can talk for 3 minutes. I get all my points in. I support the proposed amendment to the City of Long Beach zoning code of ordinances to create the North Park overlay district that will allow for the construction of a new FEMA compliant two-family homes, provided that one of the 2 units of the home meet the definition of affordable housing stated in the amendment. The new North Park overlay district also lies in the opportunity zone designated by Governor Cuomo pursuant to the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017. Opportunity zones are an economic development tool designed to spur economic development and creation of distressed communities. The North Park Overlay District is also consistent with the goals of the draft comprehensive plan of 2018, creating new FEMA compliant affordable housing in North Park. The North Park neighborhood did not experience the revitalizing investment of funds from flood insurance and grant programs after Sandy like other neighborhoods in the city. The creation of the North Park Overlay District by this amendment will attract the private investment needed for the revitalization of the housing stock in the neighborhood, and at the same time create real affordable housing so many people in the city support. I can't emphasize that enough. What Mr. Kalnitzky has done with the help of Nelson and Pope in formulating the HUD requirements really creates affordable housing here. And for a prolonged committed point of time, too, 15 years. And in the event that you don't comply, you lose your certificate of occupancy. This is an ordinance that will inject a new vibrancy in North Park and create affordable housing needed for this city to remain thriving and robust. You know, and as to my colleague, Mr. Lester's comments, one bad house can be extremely difficult for a block or an entire neighborhood. Several houses deteriorating, and we can't tell necessarily what's deteriorating, might just be empty, or it could be full and falling apart. What's deterioration necessarily mean? Doesn't matter. If someone wants to come in with private funds to make an investment in the community and be held to the constraints of the ordinance, then I think it's a good thing for the community. Just to make a note on how things have changed. On January 4th, 2000, at my first meeting as a newly elected council member, we passed an ordinance that significantly limited the building of two-family homes in zoning districts that allow for two-family homes. So it's not as if there aren't any two-family homes over there. Fact of the matter is, if you tear down your home and you actually abandon the home, then all of a sudden you've lost the right to rebuild a two-family home. And that's in District C and D, which are addressed in the amendment. At the time, we saw new two-family homes as burdening services and creating congestion. Now we need the two-family homes, or we will exile the young, deplete our workforce, and lose the diversity that defines us as a city. The passing of this amendment would be a good beginning for a united progressive council. I respectfully request you pass this ordinance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. This is the late one. Okay. First of all, I did send everyone emails. I sent everyone emails regarding some of my suggestions. Something of this nature, I think we really need to take a slight step back, have more residents' input and community participation. That would be, the information basically became available between Sunday and Monday. So for me to actually read the environmental assessment form Okay, that's not giving anyone enough opportunity to actually review the documentation. So, there needs to be open dialogue, more community input, and there is still some protection, federal protection within North Park. We are still slightly considered an environmental justice area under Presidential Executive Order 12890, environmental justice. Also, under New York State DEC, there are environmental justice criteria as well.
Can you please email us those documents?
Of course.
Thank you.
And having said that, it's a 50-50 opportunity. It can actually go either way, depending upon how it's laid out. There actually needs to be a North Park Community Advisory Board. This way, the information will be disseminated to all individuals throughout the city of Long Beach. Something of this nature, usually, well, let me take a step back. There are so many foreclosures in Long Beach that have already been purchased. So this is going to give many an opportunity for games. From the 5 parcels, there's only approximately 5 parcels of vacant land. Okay, that will be beneficial to some individuals. However, the total one-family homes, it's a very slippery slope, to be quite honest. There could be a great deal of benefit, but it has to be targeted very selectively. Otherwise, North Park will continue to gentrify, and it will become the home of the rich and the famous once again. So I'm hoping across the board, the affordability component will be available to all, to whoever will walk through the door and earn the benefit. So please, take some time, get everyone involved, and lay this out properly. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Good evening. AJ Scordio, Long Beach, New York. The Long Island Builders Institute, the largest residential home building trade association in New York State, wishes to express its strong support for this resolution, which creates the North Park Affordable Housing Overlay District and urges its approval by the Long Beach City Council. The need for affordable housing within our region is one of the most important issues facing our communities. To find a solution to this issue is essential for our municipal governments and our local developers to work together. With the municipality providing the necessary zoning and the development community providing financing necessary for the construction of such housing. The North Park Affordable Housing Overlay District created by this resolution is a perfect example of the ability of our local municipalities to create zoning which meets 2 essential goals. First, by providing the zoning change itself, the city of Long Beach is eliminating the need for developer requested zoning changes for each parcel in the community. Second, by allowing for an overlay district over an extended community, the city eliminates the need for parcel by parcel zoning. It will allow a developer or developers to know from the beginning the size, location, and price of the units before spending any funds on the development project itself. By providing a combination of both affordable and market rate housing, it allows the developer to know at the beginning what is dwelling units, what is permissible, thus allow them to allocate their costs within the project itself. The 2 family dwelling units, one affordable and one market rate, allow for a mix of incomes within the community without causing all of the affordable units to be in one place and for all of the market rate units to be in another place. This interdependency of the 2 types of housing allows for a more diverse community without the stigma of dividing the community by price. For any community to prosper, it needs to provide a mix of housing options for all incomes. The North Park Affordable Housing Overlay District provides such a mix, provides the necessary zoning changes to allow it to happen, and allows for a developer or developers to know what the rules are before their project begins. For all of these reasons, and because we firmly believe that this resolution will benefit the entire Long Beach community, the Long Island Builders Institute urges its approval. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Mrs. Kathy Williams, I'm a resident of Long Beach. I have been here for over 50 years, and I've watched many programs come and go. One was urban renewal. It ended up being urban removal for people in the North Park area and some of the, on this side. And one can't help but be leery about the program that you're presenting here tonight. It's very considerate of the builder to include affordable housing, but affordable on whose income? The government has ways of calculating things that will still end up causing people to lose their homes. I find it very, very upsetting to know that somebody, or there will be more than just somebody, a lot of people will be displaced forever. I've seen it happen over and over again. It's a good program. I'm sure you mean well, but I urge you tonight to not to consider this hastily, to take your time and look into this and include more people from other parts of town to look into what you are doing. Ownership should be encouraged. But if you have any program, and I'm a little concerned that nothing is mentioned here about senior units. So I think you really should consider what's being talked about here tonight. It's a good program, but you just can't jump into it. Okay, it could end up being like you're jumping into a swimming pool with the cinder block around your neck.
Mr. McNabb.
I'm not deferring to Mr. Gus.
Good evening, everybody. Congratulations to the new council members, John McNally, 613 West Walnut Street. Congratulations to Corporation Council. Clearly, a lot of work went into this, and I think the intent behind it is really good. I think what we're hearing tonight is that it's daylighted a little bit, though. This is a process that, as of yet, has been a quiet one. And I think daylighted and more public meetings that weigh on this thing will end up resulting in an overall better plan. So to that end, I have just a couple of sort of specific questions, I assume some of which, or most of which, you won't be able to answer tonight. But of the properties that are highlighted in yellow, so the questions that return, the properties that return from single family to double family or multifamily, do you know what percentage of those units are currently owner occupied?
No.
And do we know what the current rents of this study area actually are?
There was no way for us to make a cost-effective study of this area and kind of, figure out what the rents are in this specific zone. So we used the figures from HUD for the National Suffolk area.
Okay, that's, I guess the point what I'm getting at here is you might end up having the opposite effect. You might actually reduce home ownership and the stability that comes with home ownership by implementing something like this as an unintended consequence. And at the same time, for all we know, or we don't know, just because it's 80% of an AMI, doesn't mean that that's reflective of the rents in this specific community. So 80% of AMI, I do not know. May very well.
80% of HUD fair market value, restricted to be rented to individuals at 100% of AMI.
So it's still that AMI is Nassau and Suffolk, which I would say, taken as a whole, is not representative of the specific study area of this community. So the point being that you may end up reducing the affordability of this area, again, as an unintended consequence. So I think drilling down on this to really, see what the impacts on this community are, and I think public process is part of that. So the last other thing is, are there consolidated ownerships or a significant land or property owner in a specific area that is included in the study area? Or have specific developers been engaged to sort of flush this through from either a financial stability standpoint or from a potential profit interest?
Like I said, I started this endeavor, it first came to me about 2 years ago, when I saw individuals come to the zoning board, apply for two families, get denied, and then the property either sat the way it was and vacant, or just nothing happened. There was no result, there was no development. And sitting in the zoning board, I saw a lot of money flooding into a lot of neighborhoods of Long Beach, but not North Park. And I thought this would be a good way to encourage investment in North Park. So there's safety and compliant housing while maintaining a level of affordability in the neighborhood, which is, there's no restrictions right now. And if you're a developer, you own property, there's nothing stopping you from putting like a FEMA trailer on it and saying, all right, here you go, let's rent it. This way, we get new two-family FEMA compliant homes. And for a 3-bedroom, to pay $2,000 with utilities included in a brand new FEMA compliant home, I think that's a good deal. And I think it will help people in the neighborhood stay.
No, again, I'm not questioning the intent of this, and, I do think you built a really good foundation here, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
Mr. Gusler.
Good evening, Jay Gus from Long Beach. Unlike John, I do question the intent of this, but I'm trying to break my comments up into two parts. First, dealing with the secret declaration. I'm really not seeing how the negative declaration can be sustained on the record before the council. It seems like a cut and paste job to me. I definitely think that your policy, newly announced, of not voting on things the same night as the hearing is wise, and especially so under these circumstances. I think you guys need to do some more study, maybe with a consultant of your own choosing. The other thing is that, there's no way, again, dealing with the secret conclusions, there's no way to allow multiple dwellings isn't going to increase population and housing density. In fact, that's the stated reality of the proposal. Long Beach is already among the most housing and population dense places on Long Island. In fact, it's not even fair to compare it to the rest of Long Island. It's more fair to compare it to Queens. So I'm really not understanding how there could be almost a summary conclusion that there's not going to be any impact on traffic. To assume that the occupants of these properties aren't going to have cars is overly optimistic. There's certainly going to be an increase in demand for water, sewer, trash services versus development as of right under the current zoning. I'd like to know, Nelson both have expressed as a percentage increase what they anticipate to happen with these properties if developed under this proposal as opposed to the current as of right zoning, and whether or not those impacts will be material or insignificant. And the other thing with regard to the intent, everybody acts like we're going to do this and the developer's going to come flocking. the developer's already here. They've already been buying up these parcels. The suggestion that this was brought about as a result of some perception of some sort of need or neglect of a certain part of town over the other, that's nonsense. I've been hearing rumors about people investing, connected people investing in this area of town for the last few years. I just wasn't sure what their ultimate end game was, but now it's come clear to me. We're talking about non-conforming lots that the owners bought at bargain basement prices due to lot sizes, making it impractical or unprofitable for them to develop. But now this measure is going to come along and be adopted, and these non-conforming parcels can not only be developed, but they can be overdeveloped by shoehorning multiple family structures onto them. And this, while this may add some housing stock to the city, it will definitely boost the profit margins and a return on investment of those real estate speculators that have had the foresight to buy into this area of town.
Okay, can you wrap up, please?
Sure. Given that this proposal was hatched by the previous administration, you'll have to pardon my skepticism about the promised affordable housing benefits that are being dangled before us in order to urge passage
Wrapped up
the measure.
in a sentence. Any more input?
Hello, my name is Darren from Long Beach. I wanted to start by handing out to you some numbers that I ran, which of course you can review now for the next meeting. If you want to spend time doing that now, that's fine too. Will do. I did have a presentation or a speech I wanted to do, but I'm not going to do that now. After listening to everything everybody has said, I think I just kind of want to address what I've been hearing. I am somebody who did buy parcel over there, and as you'll see there, I mentioned 24 East Pine Street. And I'm showing you there what I actually had approved and was planning to build as a single-family home, which would have been a 5-bedroom home, market rate, not affordable, and the returns that I would be potentially getting as renting that property. And then you'll see what would happen with what you proposed here today. Instead of continuing to go into that, I'd like to just address tonight a couple of things I heard tonight. For example, the Tavern by the Sea, with an owner buying in a 2-family. The Tavern by the Sea was a multi-billion-dollar investment by a developer, where they then rented and also sold to rent to get some of their money back, similar to what we were seeing for the development of the Superblock. Condos and rentals, they did a lot of that there, and they had rental buildings and lots of subsidies and lots of tax rebates, which this does not allow. This is a private, this would be private money to developers to invest, or somebody who wants to build for themselves, their own single-family home, and have a rental component. So that would be good for anybody who has the right to do this. There was a comment about affordable housing there already existing in these lots. If that is true, it may be true that they are already affordable rent, but they're not FEMA compliant, and some of them are, dilapidated and just being rented by some owner that doesn't care and is collecting his rent and not fixing the house. As far as people coming because of the opportunity zone now, I've seen it. I've driven down the block, I'm there all the time working on 24 East Pine, and they're raising dilapidated homes. I've talked to them to try and actually buy them, to try and put a nice new FEMA compliant home. They said, no, I'm gonna make my quick $100,000. Fly out of his mouth, not from Long Beach, not local like me. They raise it, coat paint, new appliances, sell the little tiny home as is, and walk away for $300-something when they bought it from New York West. That I don't think is conducive to making the environment better. There's talk about developers already coming in, buying plans, doing this. It's been over a decade. It's been prior to Sandy that some of these homes have been for sale, dilapidated, or vacant land. some of which I have actually purchased to try and help develop this area. So nobody's coming. So much to say, but I do agree that there is a need for home ownership. I think someone coming in and building these homes, they would then later be able to be sold 10, 15 years down the line to someone who wants to live here, can afford to live here, and the affordable housing component will help.
Okay, time is up, so.
Thank you.
Mr. Healy?
Brendan Haley, Long Beach. So I had questions of Nelson Pope. What was the criteria that was used to select the firm?
Nelson Pope would fall under professional services under procurement, so I had first heard of Nelson Pope when we required environmental review on another project. Another attorney who does zoning and land use, who I hold in very high regard, recommended that we use Nelson Pope. The zoning board and myself have used Nelson Pope for a number of years, and I'm very happy with the services they provided, so that's why I asked them to do the work.
And I don't think there's any question, the presentation tonight was excellent. Are they considered to be an independent view? What's their role in the project?
Their role is simply to perform the environmental review to make sure that any action taken as far as approval goes is compliant with the State Environmental Quality Review Act. They have no agenda. I believe Ms. O'Farrell, took a look at a lot of objective factors and what we were trying to do and did her best to cater a specific response to this project.
And absolutely, the perception of a conflict is something that I think needs to be raised, given that tonight we got Long Island Business Builders Institute.
Yes.
Present tonight. Are any of the directors, officers of Nelson Pope on the board of Long Island Business Institute with a PAC?
Not that I'm aware, but I can tell you how I got in touch with Long Island Business Institute. I was, in addition to meeting with members of the community, I was curious to see if the proposed statute would be feasible for developers, and I thought it would be good to contact them. I spoke with their executive director, Mitch Powley. He really liked the idea, and he said he would like to express his support if and when there is a public hearing.
No, that's great. And I think it's important to make sure that we do have that level of independence, because I took a look, just Googling around. The Long Island Builders Institute, sorry, I got it wrong. Charles Voorhees, who's part of Nelson Pope, I believe. I think that's correct. I apologize. Voorhis. Is Charles, is he a partner or a member? Sorry.
Yes, Charles Voorhees is part of.
Voorhees, sorry.
Yeah, as he is a partner of the firm, Nelson Pope and Voorhees, as the name indicates. He does serve as a member on that board. I don't see how that's a conflict of interest in any way. He uses it as a connection for meeting different developers in the community. We serve developers and municipalities throughout Long Island. I've never heard that as a conflict of interest in any case that I've worked on.
In other words, her firm doesn't stand to benefit if this is passed or not passed.
No, but it's all about perception. I think that the council has seen that.
Can I just add? I was unaware that you even contacted the Long Island Builders Association. I don't know that Charles Voorhees would have known.
I believe he would. I met with the executive director of that organization simply because I was trying to see if this is something that would be not just providing affordable housing, but also feasible for developers to pursue.
Well intended, and again, it's about perception, so the reason why I raised it, I don't know the firm, it's not my line of work, I just was Googling around for 2 seconds, made the quick connection, so again, it's just perception, right? So if anybody else in the community started Googling around, there's obviously some concern, if the firm that we hired to be independent, are they truly independent, is there something else here? I'm not a conspiracy theorist, I think everybody knows that. But again, just looking at that from a conflict perspective, so thank you for answering that, that was helpful. All right, thank you.
Congratulations to all of you. My name is Robin Donovan, and I live in the canals. And I've lived here 20 years, and I feel for this woman in the front row here, when she said it's more like urban removal. And that's what I hear. And I'm just thinking, maybe there's some funding through New York State that could take the first 5 lots and develop them and open up the application process to see who can afford this. I'm thinking maybe there's funding from New York State, so you don't have to offer it to a lot of developers, because I live in the canals, I've seen these houses go up, they're huge, they're affecting our assessments and our taxes, okay? Because all of a sudden, a house in the West End is selling for $900,000. Okay, and I don't want people like that being left out in the cold. I don't know where these people are gonna go when you demo all their houses, okay? And it's serious, it really is. So have a heart, like you have a great council now. Call on New York State. I'm telling you, there's money out there. Believe me, there's money.
Happy belated birthday.
Good evening, Marcus Tinker here in Long Beach. In regard to this movement with the North Park, we have met with Greg on countless occasions, the previous council. Council President Bendo's been involved, I think Councilman Mandel might have been at a meeting. This is not a bad thing. I've lived here since '87, and I know there's a lot of talk about changing back to two-family homes. The majority of homes in North Park are two-family. It's not like we're talking about 200 homes being changed from one-family home to two-family. The majority of all the homes on the block are two-family. So it's not gonna add that many more cars, it's not a bad thing. As long as it's adding affordable housing, which is something we've been asking for, it's not a bad idea, it's not a bad thing. You know, we do need units available for seniors. I mean, a lot of them have owned homes before, have sold homes because it's hard to maintain it. We don't need them being displaced. 15 years might not be long enough, affordability factor, 30 years would be better. Because it gives some families that are starting to have kids now a chance to have their kids stay here a little longer. 15 years is not gonna be long enough. So just consider that, and let's not rush this, take your time. That's all.
Marcus, I have a question for you. Ms. Williams brought up the point, what is affordable? Do we have any sort of data from the residents that have wanted to participate to find out what really is affordable?
A lot of residents do make 20, 30, 40,000 a year. They're not gonna, a lot of them are not making 70, 80, $100,000 a year in North Park. So we need something along the lines of what they're making to keep them here.
So less than 80% of their market value, right? So it would be not $1,000 for efficiency, it'd be more like 700 or 600, right?
That's realistic for a lot of things.
That's affordable, that's not a.
Yeah, giving somebody $2,200 a month rent is not affordable.
Well, the $2,000 a month figure is for a 3-bed apartment, and that also includes utilities.
An efficiency of 80%, Mike says would be $992. So for somebody who's doing a take-home income of $1,500 net a month, that would be well over 50% of their take-home pay, correct?
I mean,
That's not affordable.
I would need to look at the numbers, but once again, I base affordability on fair market value determined by month.
Thank you, Mike.
Well, I'll email Greg later tonight so we can figure out some figures.
Outstanding. Thank you, Mr. Tinker.
I just want to clarify one thing, and Mr. Tinker, thank you for your comments and everybody's comments, it's interesting. Just to clarify, I was not involved in any of these meetings, this person, this public is also being presented with this, I find it interesting, I find the concept very interesting, but just for clarification purposes, I was not involved in any meetings. I appreciate all the work that really went into this, I just was not part of it, so just so.
Any more comments? Okay, we'll leave the hearing open and we'll move on.
What do you mean,
On to the regular calendar. Item 1 is a resolution declaring the city council of the city of Long Beach legally to seek the adoption of an amendment to the code of ordinances of the city of Long Beach regarding appendix A zoning determining action classified as type 1 pursuant to secret and adopting a negative declaration.
I motion to table this item.
I second motion to table.
Motion to table item number 1. Councilmember Delory.
Yes.
Councilmember Mandel.
Yes.
Councilmember Trastan.
Yes.
Vice President McGinnis.
Yes.
President Bender.
Yes.
Item's been tabled. Item 2 is an ordinance to amend the code of ordinances of the city of Long Beach regarding appendix A zoning. Do you have any motion on this item as well?
I move to table this item.
I second.
Councilmember Delory.
Yes.
Councilmember Mandel.
Yes.
Councilmember Trastan.
Yes.
Vice President McGinnis.
Yes.
President Bender.
Yes.
On to item 3 is a resolution authorizing settlement of an action brought by Jennifer Hall against the city of Long Beach.
Okay, this item is from the Borough City Council. It's a pending negligence case. The city council has been fully briefed by a member of my staff in the form of a written memo about the facts, circumstances, details, potential liabilities. I believe it was a very comprehensive memo. I know Council Member Bendo had initiated this new policy in conjunction with the city council to hold things over until the next meeting, which I appreciate and respect for an item in the overlay zone. But just this morning, an attorney in my office went to court and he started picking a jury. So unless this is able to be settled today.
There's no hearing for this, so it's just.
Oh, perfect. Very good. Yes, no, just to put things in context, you know, okay, very good.
Okay, any comments or questions from the council? Any comments from the audience? Okay, on to the next one.
Item 4 is a resolution authorizing budget amendment for the general fund budget for the 2019-20 fiscal year.
This item is to take funds that were donated to the city by the Honorable Bobby Wiesenberg to replace the post clock from Long Island Railroad Station, which was part of the police memorial. So this just takes the funds and puts them into the city account so that we can purchase the clock.
Any questions from the council?
No. Thank you, Art.
Yes, any questions from the audience? Okay, next item.
Item 5 is a resolution to appoint a temporary audit committee and audit committee charter drafting team.
I was asked to draft this resolution by a member of the council. The intent here is to establish a temporary committee to oversee the audit process for now and provide advisory opinions. But while that is going on, that committee will also work in conjunction with my office to draft a formal charter that will govern their powers and responsibilities.
Any questions from the council? Any questions from the audience? Mr. Barone?
Eddie Byrne. Will the meetings for this audit committee be public?
The audit committee, as it stands right now, is advisory in nature, and it's typically advisory in nature. Therefore, because it is advisory in nature and it has no more than 2 members of the city council on it, the meetings are not required to be public. However, at the option of the audit committee, they may be public.
Well, I'm aware of in school districts, specifically the Long Beach School District meetings of the audit committee are held publicly. So I think that we should, especially with the cloud over the city's finances, I think it would be very smart for these meetings to be held publicly and them to even be streamed, because that it's just right now with audits not being on time, with doubt on over audit reports, I think it would be for confidence into the city's finances, this would be a smart idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie, for your comments. We are implementing this audit committee according to the best practices as outlined by the government Finance Officers Association, and they recommend having, not necessarily following the open meetings law because there could be sensitive information that goes on during this process. This is also exactly what the residents have asked for in terms of transparency and direct involvement by the city council members in the audit process. So the audit will not be signed off and delivered to the city council like that. We will be required to approve it. Also, the 2 members of the council that are on the committee will have to present the findings of the audit to the entire council so that they are fully apprised of everything that's going on. I think this will be a dialogue, and I look forward to working with you on it.
Thank you, Vice President. I think this is a good start for increasing confidence in the city. Thank you.
I'd just like to add that Vice President McGinnis is the one who initiated this, and I totally think it's a great idea. I appreciate the volume of dialogue that I have received with the controller business, because I am not waiting for a couple months down the road. I want to be prepared, and that's why I ran for city council, the new finance and the budget. But Vice President McGinnis is the one who really initiated this whole audit committee setup, and Greg will get it done.
And do we think that it's going to be, the audit looking like it's going to be on time this year?
Yes, we have full confidence in Ms. Resnick and her team to help us get the audit done. Otherwise, we'll keep you posted.
That's excellent, thank you.
Any other comments? Okay.
On to the voting portion. Item 22 have been tabled. Item 3 is a resolution authorizing settlement of an action brought by Jennifer Hall against the city of Long Beach. Introduce and move the adoption of this item. Second.
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Delory.
Yes.
Councilmember Mandel.
Yes.
Councilmember Trustin.
Yes.
Vice President McGinnis.
Yes.
President Bendo.
Yes.
Item 4 is a resolution authorizing budget amendment to the general fund budget for the 2019-20 fiscal year. Just move the adoption of this item.
I will.
Second.
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Delory.
Yes.
Councilmember Mandel.
Yes.
Councilmember Trustin.
Yes.
Vice President McGinnis.
Yes.
President Bendo.
Yes.
Finally, item 5 is a resolution to appoint a temporary audit committee and audit committee charter drafting team. Will you just move the adoption of this item?
I will.
Second.
I will.
Voting, Councilmember Delory.
Yes.
Councilmember Mandel.
Yes.
Councilmember Trustin.
Yes.
Vice President McGinnis.
Yes.
President Bendo.
Yes.
City manager's monthly personnel report has been filed by the city clerk. Will make a motion to close the meeting.
I will.
Second.
No.
Voting, Councilmember Delory.
Yes.
Councilmember Mandel. Councilmember Trustin.
Yes.
Vice President McGinnis.
Yes.
President Bendo.
Yes. Okay, I think everybody knows the drill, but we have 3 minutes. Okay, and first we have Ms. Vining, Julie Vining.
First of all, and the council members, I came up here tonight because it occurred to me it's a new decade, and at the same time, Long Beach Aware has been in existence for an entire decade, or will be as of August. But it also occurred to us today that, well, I think you know about us. You may not. You may not know all about us, and I'm not going to sit here tonight to tell you all about us. But I will leave you with a folder. But I will also ask that we take another look at the continued active presence of the council on the Long Beach Coalition. Because when we had that, nothing was stopping us. And when we had that, we've achieved lots of legislative and policy initiatives that Mr. Kalniski knows of some, I believe. Former Councilman Kelly, when he was on the council, came to every meeting. So I would ask that we have council presence, because part of what we do, or a big part, is policy and initiatives, and you can't do that in 3 minutes under good and welfare. You need to be part of the decision-making process, just like you outlined for the public to see your debates and your discussion. We need that with you so that we can work together instead of it being adversarial. So, of course, you're gonna get emails from me tonight, but I would really encourage you to, amongst yourselves, you're all welcome always, but appoint one person or 2 people that will come to our meetings. That are Wednesday nights, we give you pizza and we give you policy. Not bad.
Where are these meetings held?
They're held at the Long Beach Middle School Media Center. So I would love the commitment from this council that you will, again, be the strong partner that you once were.
And you'll email us the.
I email everybody, always. And yes, I will, I can email you the list of meetings. I think Ms. Rendell knows that once you're on my email list, you're never off. So you get notified. But again, what we would love, and what the entire coalition would love, really, and I've been in Long Beach a really long time, but this coalition has been in existence through the hospital, through not the hospital, through whatever. We have made a ton of policy and other impacts. I have a folder for each of you, as well as our acting city manager, and it becomes richer the more of us who are there. And for me, being a part of this for the past 20 years, this is the very first group in Long Beach that I can tell you has consistently met every month with about 20 to 25 people over 20 years.
I just have one question.
Sure.
You say you meet Wednesdays at the middle school?
On Wednesday evening from 7 to 9.
Okay. And that's the first Wednesday of the month, the second, third?
Well, unfortunately, it doesn't work that way for us because we try really hard not to get up against any major school calendar things, major city calendar things. But we do have the list for the year, and for the rest of the year, I will certainly send that.
That would be helpful. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I see her out there in the hallway, Kathy Williams, I don't know. She wants to speak again?
Ms. Williams, you finished it.
Good, okay. Pat Nugent.
I am not Pat Nugent, but I'm going to swap with Mr. Nugent and just give you a little more continuity. Mr. Nugent is from Sunset Bay Adventures and Motorsports LBNY. I'll take my slot. If it's okay with you, Mr. President. Okay. Again, I wrote it out, so I would try to use the 3 minutes efficiently. Dennis Kelly, 120 West Park Avenue, Long Beach, New York, 11561. I represent Sunset Bay Adventures and Motorsports. Some of you already know that. I think almost all of you, except for Vice President McGinnis, I'm not sure if you ever got a package from us. We'll get you a package. The reason why I'm up here is we're asking the indulgence of the council to sit and meet with us to discuss a project that's been pending now for over 4 years. A request for proposals went out in April in 2015, and then again in May of 2016, asking for proposals from vendors capable of operating a seasonal water service located in the city of Long Beach, adjacent to the city's recreation complex along West Bay Drive. Such services may include, but are not limited to, sunset cruises, water taxi operations, and other water-related activities. The sole bidder on both of those RFPs was Sunset Bay Adventures. They've spent a considerable amount of time and money to acquire the permits, one of which from the Army Corps of Engineers will expire on April 28th, 2020. So in about three and a half months. We want this new council to consider it. I don't know why it didn't go through the old council. We want to spend some time with you to discuss it. We have significant detail. We've increased the financial offer and payments to the city last month in a previous conversation. I think some now remaining members of that council wanted to wait for this council to consider it. So we just, like I said, ask for your indulgence and try to organize something so we can meet with you, discuss it, educate you, and then find out what it is that you want us to do, or what you would like to see the project. So where become or be. It's a worthwhile project. This is about water, primarily about water and taxi services, which is going to, it's already blossomed, as we know, in other waterways in the immediate area. It's going to blossom significantly with a loop that involves Point Lookout, Freeport, Merrick, and Island Park. And this project would enable the city to participate in that water taxi service loop. So I won't waste any more of your time, but Pat comes up, he'll introduce himself and tell you who he is. Thank you very much.
I'll contact you offline then, so maybe next week, Thursday's working meeting might be the time.
Oh, that would be great. I'll make time.
Okay. Eddie Barone.
Eddie Burnham. Firstly, I want to congratulate the newly elected city council members, Delory, Treston, and Vice President McGinnis. And I also want to give a special congratulations to newly elected President Benda. I'm very happy with the changes that have already been implemented tonight, and I'm very happy with the way my questions about the audit committee were answered, in direct answers to questions and in a civil tone. It's all we ask, and I appreciate the work and strides just that occurred tonight. And as Councilwoman Treston said at her during her speech at the inauguration, that it's time that we bring out the bad people of the city, bring out those, the Wizard of Oz, as she mentioned. And I think that just listening to the people have the ideas on how that's going to occur, and that is a step in the right direction. But this council was elected on a mandate of change. That change begins with changes to the city charter. As I proposed in the September 20th, 2018 meeting, changes to the way the budget is approved and enacted are greatly needed. Firstly, the provision that allows the manager's budget to automatically go into effect if the council does not approve a budget needs to be repealed. The city should adopt a system similar to the school district, in which if a budget is not approved, a 0% tax increase shall go into effect. Additionally, I believe there should be a binding referendum for any budget that attempts to pierce the tax cap. There should also be a prohibition in the city charter so that exempt employees cannot receive higher raises than union employees. Finally, the city council needs to reduce the power of the city manager. Currently, the city manager has the ability to appoint employees without the consent of the city council. This includes department heads down to seasonal workers. If the council wants to effectively oversee the city council should approve all personnel appointments, as in the case of the school district. These changes, these good government changes, should be implemented as soon as possible. There is no need for outside counsel, and there is no need for delay. The people demand change, and if these changes are implemented, will begin to build a city free of corruption. If we want corruption to end, we need to change the charter now. Beyond these changes, the council should also consider eliminating the local development corporation, ensuring the audit report is completed on time, reviving dormant city commissions, creating new commissions such as the Financial Advisory Commission, which I've supported in the past, and enforcing on-the-books quality of life laws. You got a lot on your plate, so thank you very much.
Eddie, can you please send us an email with all those recommendations?
Of course, and I also, send my budget cuts that I proposed in the last 2 years, in preparation for our budget season coming up.
Remember, I don't want problems, I want solutions.
Right, of course.
Could I make a comment? Mr. Verona, I welcome your comments. I agree with the charge. I spoke maybe last year at the budget hearing in May, where the budget, if it gets turned down, goes into effect.
Right.
That makes no sense. I proposed at the time, a thought pattern that it defaults to something I put out as the tax cap, things like that. I do have to say that there are a lot of areas in the charter that we changed. It's not gonna be simple, it's not gonna be easy. But I fully support that aspect of revising this charter, which I believe in some cases still has the mayor listed as. So, thank you.
Yes, I think we should look in the future, not just, I think looking at the school districts, which New York State has implemented a lot more regulations for school districts and for cities, and that for a lot of good government ideas can come from our school districts. Thank you.
Kathy Levine.
Kathy Levine, State Street, Long Beach. I'd like to say welcome, welcome, welcome to the new council members. I represent a group of neighbors on East State Street, and we have a big issue. It's a concrete monster over half a block long, covered with black mold, peeling paint, and a few broken windows. Insulation falls out occasionally on the street. Yes, it's a former Long Beach Medical Center, and it's a blight on an otherwise well-kept, neat and clean neighborhood. I suggest that in the coming week you take a field trip to observe the site for yourselves. When you do that, please take a good look and ask yourselves how you would feel if this was located across the street from your house. Mount Sinai, the owner of the building, claims they don't have the money to demolish the building. But consider this, they have $154 million of FEMA money originally meant for Long Beach. And their ads boast that they're investing $400 million in services. So I'd say that claim is a lie. They're planning to build medical offices on State Street in an area zoned for one-family homes. But the first step in any plan by Mount Sinai should be to demolish the Long Beach Medical Center. It's never going to be a viable hospital again. If my next-door neighbor abandoned her home and left it to rot and gather mold for 7 years, she'd be held responsible. The same should be true for Mount Sinai. Up until now, our hospital neighborhood group has not received any support other than sympathy from the city council, our senator, or a local legislator. Nor did our zoning board support us. They wanted to battle with an institution so powerful. But there is always a right thing to do, even if it involves challenging a powerful, moneyed institution like Mount Sinai. I appeal to you to have this building torn down, not only because it's a dark stain on our neighborhood, but to show us that under your leadership, power and money will not win out over the residents of Long Beach. Thank you.
Neil Morani.
Good evening, Emil Brani. Firstly, I'd like to congratulate the new council, and I wish nothing but best of luck and success ahead of you. I have 2 questions in regards to the recently denied police department contract. Where exactly will the department be going now that the union refused to ratify it?
My understanding is there's going to be a meeting next week between the city and the police to discuss next steps. You know, see if there's common ground that everybody can come to.
Okay. My last question, Mr. Mandel and President Mendel, can you explain your vote on the police contract now that it's public? The contract didn't do enough to limit separation pay for new officials, which was capped at $275,000, which is not the necessary decrease that we need, in addition to a 24% raise over 12 years, with no noticeable reduction in sick days and vacation time, which is the core of the separation pay scandal. How exactly, back end, did you think this was sustainable?
I can interject for just a moment. While that deal was rejected, we are still negotiating at the table. So I'm concerned with having council members make public statements that are the subject of collective bargaining negotiations. Sorry.
Yeah, I hope you can understand it, because the contract wasn't passed, and there's still negotiations going on. So the comments need to be between our negotiator and their negotiator. It's sort of, I get why you'd want to know, it's obviously a public interest item, but we can't negotiate in court of public opinion. It has to be done. There's a system in place they have to follow.
No, I'm familiar with it, but I'd just like to say for the record, in my opinion, I don't believe looking at it, it was a sustainable deal. And I'd just like you guys to know that. This is the root cause of the separation pay was the sick days and the vacation time. And the fact that it wasn't limited and you still have like this, ridiculously high separation pay. I don't know how this would be sustainable for anybody. Thank you.
Yeah, we just want to say that we remain committed to trying to work with the PBA to find an agreement that is viable for the police and ensures both the safety and financial stability of our city and residents. So we do hear you, but we have to continue under negotiations.
Okay, Brendan Healy.
Brendan Healy, representing the West End Neighborhood Civic Association, Committee on Standards and Quality of Life. Tonight I just want to update both the council and the residents on some of the work our committee's been doing, particularly with 3 liquor license applications in the West End. The first is with the former Whalesdale location, which is called Shade LBNY. So we've been working with the principal, it's actually the same principal owner of the Beach House, which is just up the block. They have a really good concept. They're looking to really change the location, make it more of a restaurant concept, less of a nightclub, less of a party venue, but it will be a bar. We are working with them on stipulations like we normally do, and that is slated to hopefully open in the next couple months. The next is going to be 780 West Beach. So this is the Island Time location. They had a beer, wine, cider permit. They now they're applying for a full on-premise liquor license. And that application just recently came through. Again, we've reached out to their attorney and to their representative and looking to get some information from them. And last but not least is 5 New York Avenue. This is Danny Mac's Ocean Bar and Grill. I think now it's called 5 Ocean. They were operating under a seasonal license. They've applied for a full on-premise liquor year-round, and we have not been able to get in touch with them. We did ask the council for their help and the city specifically to reach out to the SLA to advise them that the 30-day notification that was provided to the city was deficient because there were 3 issues with it. One was that the contact information was not correct. The second being that the representative listed no longer represents that client. So it's appropriate for the municipality to reach out to the SLA to request that the applicant provide a new 30-day notice in which we can, as a community, work with the applicant on conditions and learn more about their operation. It's pretty standard. We have a very good rapport with the SLA, have a good dialogue. And again, I think we've demonstrated that we work with the businesses and have received good feedback from many of the business owners. To date, over 70% of the bars in the West End do have agreements with us. And as they do come from renewal or new license applications, we work with them. And I think if you speak to most of the business owners in the West End, they're very happy with the progress and the work that we've made. So that's just a quick update on the licenses, and any questions from the council.
Is Island Time going to stay predominantly a restaurant, or is it shifting more towards a bar?
So we don't know at this point. They've only submitted their 30-day. We did send them our questionnaire for comment. Their new name, at least from what we've seen in the application, I think it's called the Cafe LBNY. They are moving from beer, wine, cider to full on-premise liquor. So to be announced, I'm not sure yet.
application with Island Times, soon to be, whatever the cafe. The seating that is currently there now, isn't there a requirement, or is there a requirement for the amount of seats per counter? And if so, would you know that out, would you know what they're required, they're requesting? Is that something, isn't there a formula that if you have a bar, or there should be a certain amount of seats available? I'm not an expert, so that's why they.
There is language in the code today within zoning. I don't know it off the top of my head, but you're right, there is some language around the size of the new bar, the amount of seats. I'll defer that obviously to the building department. But in terms of their application itself, what we have today is just a preliminary 30-day notice, which indicates that they want to have full off-premise liquor. We don't know much more at this point, but through our inquiry process, we will find out more and what we're going to get that detail to cover.
If you need any assistance, I'd be happy to work with you towards that.
Great, thank you. And then I'm going to just leave this last item here with the council. I did email this as well, but for the record, this is the letter from the committee members of Western Neighbors asking the city's help in responding to the SLI. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Lester.
Before Grace speaks, how does the city help bridge with the SLA? Is there a formula? Do we write a letter?
As far as I know, every time that there is a SLA, and this is a new applicant, I think, but in the past, if you were a new role, the state sends a letter out to the local municipality, police activities, number of, whether any incidents. If there's a multiple amount of incidents, I think the police department has to fill out a kind of form. You know, that's the document trail. And Mr. Gilly, correct me if I'm wrong. Judy, have you, Mr. Lester, would you yield to this finding?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Do I need to adjust?
There's a 30-day notice that's sent to the city prior to the application. At that time, the city has the right to do nothing, to lend its support, or to say, you know what, we've got 100 places you can buy alcohol in the city of Long Beach, maybe it's enough, which is what we have, by the way. Anyway, but what we do know is that if you say nothing, the SLA takes it as approval from the city, and therefore thinks the city is in favor of the application.
Thank you, Ms. Harmon. Thank you, Mr. Lester. And Mr. Gilly, you had anything to add?
I'll make one last comment. So adding to what Judy had mentioned, right? The SLA does require the input of the community and the municipality. So they are required to have that input. We have actually met with the SLA down here as part of the city about a year ago, right? So we had the deputy commissioner of the SLA, we had the deputy CEO of the SLA coming with us. I think Mr. Taggy was there as well. Very good productive conversation. And the SLA has said they want the city's recommendation on these applications. We have filled that void in the West End. We've developed a process that I think has been very fair, has received good feedback. However, with that, they're still looking for the city, right? So whether this ends up becoming a part of a committee or a commission, I think across the city, we need to have an opportunity, or we have the opportunity to provide feedback. But to answer your specific question, to date, the city has not taken any formal position, and there's no mechanism in the city today to do what we're doing, right? So we do need that mechanism.
Thank you.
Thank you for your patience, Mr. Lester.
I have to admit, being up in smelling this fresh wood, intoxicating. It's so nice. Anyway, I do have a letter I had emailed to you guys. It's basically about reinstating the ethics committee, which I think is very important. So I wrote it out, so you actually have a hard copy. And I also have to say, Mr. Healy brought up a really good point when it comes to Nelson and Polk. I think we have a real problem here. I was there last night when they were advocating on the part of the super block developers, and yet we are hiring them. And I don't see why no one sees that as a conflict. We have attorneys who are advocating for the developers in this town, and yet they're representing us. You know, the city.
On that, Mr. Lester, Nelson Pope actually told me that they were representing Ingle Garment. And because Ingle Garment is intending to do a project as of right that's not going to go in front of the zoning board, I didn't view it as a conflict. So I mean.
You might not, but the rest of the town looks at it, and I've heard a lot of people view it as a conflict. I know you might not, but a lot of other people do. So I just think it's something that should be considered, because it's not just here, when we heard they were talking, you know, they represent developers. But Super Block, that's a big one, and they represent them too. Now, going into that, this North Park thing, it's, the idea is great, but it's really great if you can have residents owning this property. And I do believe that there are a lot of programs out there where all we have to do is change the zoning so that not only is it required that it be affordable, but it's required that the owner occupy it. There are a lot of opportunities, economic opportunities right now by this being an economic opportunity area. So this is, you know, a lot of people would absolutely jump on it if they can, but sometimes it's tough to get the financing. So if we could go out, you know, even to that matter, Long Beach could guarantee these loans because it's all secured. It's all secured for this. These are money-making opportunities. There's no question about it. When you can have a two-family from what was formerly a one-family, and it seems to be a great idea all over the town for people who want to keep, you know, we want Long Beach to be affordable. We want our kids to be able to afford to stay here. And if we changed some of this zoning so that people could, you know, if they own the property, allow another additional unit, I think it would really, you know, I understand there's a lot of reluctance to have two families in a lot of areas of the town. But on the other hand, if the owner is living there, I think it kind of changes the thing. And finally, I have to ask, I know you said you're still negotiating the police contract. Are we still having Terry O'Neill doing the negotiating, or are we negotiating it on our own?
Again, I don't want to give out too much.
No, but Terry O'Neill
The
can't be
meeting
here.
next week will involve Mr. O'Neill.
Who is on the arbitration panel, therefore he has to
Right,
be
he's
there.
on the arbitration panel.
And as you know, as a lawyer, sometimes you have to go through the state to get someone off the arbitration panel. Unless you want to, you know, advise us on how to do that.
No, you know what?
We're working on it.
I would hate to have an arbitrator be just fired.
All right.
Sam Pinto.
Sam Pinto, Long Beach. While I'd love to continue on that conversation, I'm going to hold off on my opinions. Two things just to continue on the North Park overlay. I just think also part of the research the city should take while reviewing that is looking into how many variances were granted by the zoning board since 2000 that were given a one-family to a two-family. To see if there's been a great outstanding request for that or need. So just looking for that as well. And we're looking to find out if this area has a want or need, maybe have the zoning board do some sort of canvas that's similar to that to see if there's an actual want from the residents who live in the area right now. It'll get some good feedback, and similar to other zoning processes, you do that request, you may want to review that request for the people in that zone parameter that will be affected by these changes. Just another thought in that process. And lastly, thank you, Council President Bendo, on that update on the changes in orders and practices. One thing that I think would be a good step into transparency transparency, it's something that I've had a lot of trouble with myself, is the FOIL process. I think that oftentimes some residents go up against the wall with the FOILs, and some people are able to get their FOIL responses done in a moment's time. I mean, for example, the news, some people are able to get their FOILs perfectly responded within one day, while it takes residents, a week just to get the response of receipt. So if you can try to maybe expedite a review the FOIL process, or one idea which would have to be worked out would be to make the FOIL process public. So the requests, if the person who is making the request chooses to opt in, that FOIL request will be part of public open access. So if someone is looking for information and it's already been FOILed, they wouldn't have to go through the 7-day waiting for receipt and the 30-day waiting of response. That information will be available already, because oftentimes the same question is asked multiple times, and then it's a burden upon the FOIL commission or the FOIL officer. So maybe an opt-in process. So one, if people are looking for public information, it should be available for everybody, not just a select few. And two, if they opt into that, and two, it'll also lower the burden, because I was told, oh, your FOIL request can't be answered right now because we're really busy. And the only recourse I have is to file an Article 78, but then that costs time and money, and oftentimes it's really not worth the squeeze. So people give up, and I hate to say it, but I think people in the past were waiting on you just to give up on your FOIL process and not activate it because it's easier for them. So just two recommendations: one on the public hearing, those recommendations, and two, for an effort of transparency, reforming the local FOIL process if possible. Thank you.
John McNally. Jay Justler.
Good evening again, Jay Gosler. Not what I plan on speaking about, but to this gentleman's comment about not being able to speak about the negotiations on the PDA and the city, it's my position is by bringing forth a resolution with the proposed PD contract, the council basically opened the process up publicly. So I'm not really sure why we can now say that we can't speak about it, even to the point of even discussing whether or not we're still using the same attorney. That's an aside. I did want to say that in my 52 years living in the city, that few moments have instilled greater pride in me than what I feel here tonight as I look upon this council days. I see the proof that in the end, the will of the people ultimately prevails. For too long, our city leaders were enslaved to party bosses at the expense of good government. It's been that way for as long as I can remember. With the election of you, Karen, Liz, Mike, I believe that long, sad tradition has come to an end. For the first time in pretty much forever, I feel that we have an honest city council that will actually consider the thoughts and concerns of the residents and not just sheepishly follow what the party boss tells them to do. Knowing you all as I do, I have great confidence that you will, as a body, elevate the good of the city above your own personal or political interests. And I want to congratulate you on your win. Wish you great success, and ask that you please, please, please do not let us down.
Jim Schechter.
Well, thank you, Mr. Dustin, for your comments.
Hi, good evening. June Schechter, East State Street. Congratulations to the new members. And I'd like to say, please don't forget us in the Northeast Bay area. Of course, we're still upset about our situation with the hospital. And as Kathy was talking about the monstrosity that is, it's really a derelict building. Although the hospital, Mount Sinai has said it's perfectly fine and they have plans to sell it. If it's perfectly fine and they have plans to sell it, why not use that space and develop it to the 500-year plane and make us a more resilient medical pavilion, which is really just doctor's offices. Any way you slice it, it's not a hospital at all. I was very interested in hearing about the environmental study that was done for the North Park overlay plan. I was wishing in my head, I was wishing that the hospital, Mount Sinai, would have done an environmental study and been transparent about it with us. Instead, I think it was really less than independent. And they said no traffic problems, there's not going to be any impact on the neighborhood, and we know that's wrong. Also, please don't forget about us and the bulkhead situation, because between Monroe and Neptune, that's held by the hospital, and they have no plans to improve the bulkhead, and we know that that area is repeatedly flooded by the bay, tide waters coming in, even on a full moon. So my plea to you is please don't forget us in this area, and keep in mind that our quality of life is going to be greatly affected by this kind of land grab that happened between Mount Sinai, and our zoning board didn't support us, that they took over that residential area that had houses in it, and now we're going to be facing a monstrosity of a building that's going to be 25 feet high in the air, and not houses, not what used to be there. So please don't forget us. Thank you very much.
And that's it. Everyone get home safe, and thank you for coming.